Hello guys, in this tutorial we'll look into basic C++ functions, and from this tutorial onwards we'll actually start looking into object-oriented programming, which is our basic goal. Now let me create a new item, add new item, and let's make a new file for tutorial2.cpp, and let me just remove tutorial1. Alright. Now, what was the first thing that we needed to do? It was include our IOStream library. This is extremely important. Then we used our namespace std, and then came our main function and return 0. Okay, now we're looking into functions. Let's create a function. We added two numbers in our previous tutorial, right? Let's just create a function for that. Now we want to create a function to add two numbers, right? Now our function has a return type, which we'll discuss in a while. And when we want a function to have no return type, then we set it as void. Now here's the basic syntax for our functions. Return type, function name, parenthesis, and the body. Now, the parentheses can be empty, or they can contain something like int x or int y. And since I'm assuming that you have basic knowledge of procedural languages, you should know what these parameters are. Okay, now uh, let's see. We want to add two numbers, right? So let's just remove this as well. We don't need this. Now let let's say we want to add numbers x and y, then we can do the exact same thing that we did in the previous tutorial, but this time we're doing it inside a function. So now we can see out result equals x plus y and then end line. Now this function needs to be called in our main. What functions help us do is they make everything neater. Now, remember how messed up our main looked in the previous tutorial? Now it's all cleaned up and all the mess has been shifted to a function, so it's easier to keep track of our main. Now let's run this to see if it works properly. And as you can see over here, our project is compiling and there seems to be an error. Oh, wait, sorry. What is the error? Add numbers. Oh, sorry. Whenever you define a function below the main, you need to add a prototype over here to tell the compiler that there is a function down below that it needs to look for. So now it should work. Okay, it is compiling, and let's add our first number, now our second number, and it works fine. Okay, now let's look at functions that take parameters, which could be, let's take two parameters, int x and int y, for our addition, and let's pass these two numbers from our main. We need to add int x and int y over here as well in the prototype. Now let's declare int a, int b, and let's take user's input inside the main, and now let's pass these two variables to our function, and our function would return the result. This is the return type, the integer. So if we return a plus b, oh sorry, x plus y, this would be returning the result of a plus b. So let's change this to int over here as well. Now let's create another variable for our result, and the value of our return can be saved over here. Let's see how our execution is going right now. First, we declare two variables, then we declare a variable for result. We take input in a and b and call the add numbers function. Now our main has stopped and our program starts executing from over here. Then we return x plus y. So the answer would be returned over here and saved in the result. Our answer would be returned to this line. Then we can see out result result is equal to result. All right, and then our program exits. Now let's see if this works properly or not. 5, no, 4 and 12 should give 16, which is correct, and I should add an end line over here. Alright, now let me just comment out this section of the code. Okay, so for comments, you can either use this to comment out one line. Comments are basically something that the compiler does not execute, or you can use this to comment out an entire portion. Okay, so now we'll be discussing two types of functions, the pass by value and the pass by reference, and see what's the difference between the two. Okay, so let's just declare a variable a and initialize it with 5. And let's make a function called pass by value. And this takes an integer, and we need to make its prototype as well, as we saw before. And now let's call the function pass by value and pass a to it. And what we do inside the function is increment a by 1. This a plus plus, sorry, x plus plus would be the correct way because it's x over here. X plus plus is simply means x equals x plus 1, which means it has been incremented by 1. Okay. Now pass by value x plus plus. If we see out in here, this should give the output 6. Let's see. Let's run this and see if I'm correct or not. What is the error? Sorry. Pass by value must, sorry, let's change this to void. And void over here as well. We don't want a return value. Okay, now let's see. Yes, its output is 6. Now let's see if we see out a over here. Let's see what our result is now. Okay, so this is 5. First, this was executed inside the function and it output 6, and then this output 5. Now, this means that the original A remains unchanged because when we try to do and make any changes inside the function, they aren't made outside the function. This is passing by value. Now let's see pass by reference. Now, if we simply add an ampersand sign next to our x and do the exact same thing inside the function, then we will be passing by reference, and the changes made inside our function would remain there outside our function as well. Let's make our prototype and let's comment out the pass by value function and call the pass by reference and pass it a. Now both couts should give 6. Now we'll look, yes, as you can see, 6 and 6. Now we'll look into the application of this in future tutorials. That's it for this tutorial. Thank you for watching.